Sometimes it's about more than manifesting. You got to do the work. uh, yeah.
Now
So
that's what you call balance as a woman. I went from Beyonce to Biggie.
no,
Yes.
no. But as we were saying, like I don't think I can't remember what year it was. It had to be 20. I want to say 2014 or 2015. You know what it was? I remember. I think I was telling you this. I was broke. I wasn't broke, but like my girl at the time was making like 40 or 50,000 more than I was making, or something crazy, and I was like, nah.
But how does that I'm always curious, like from a man's perspective, because I actually remember dating a guy that told me his ex, like even at the time, I never told him how much money I made, but he would kind of like hint about how much money he made, and I knew I made more than him. But
Yeah,
I remember him saying like his ex had made more, and he was like, but that didn't bother him. But they also, at the time, when he was with her, they were married, so
yeah.
it was possibly different. But I'm curious, how do you feel about that?
In the back of my head, I think it bothered me, but it bothered me because she could do things for herself that I wasn't able to do
Couldn't.
for her, or like I was stretching myself thin to try to keep up with her finances. So I was in competition with the fact that she could buy stuff for herself, like because especially being raised by a single mom, I'm a man's man, right? Like
Right.
open
I get
doors,
that.
pull out chairs, you take care of everything. So, yeah, I was just, but it was good. I will say it was good because it was healthy competition. Because I started out making more than her, and then
Mm.
she went on to, get a certain position, which then catapulted her to even better opportunities, and she just never stopped. So while she was like, doing that through the government, I was working on I was working in private sector, and like if you didn't have any skills, you didn't have a degree in private
Hmm.
sector, they not messing with you, right? So that was like my uh pursuit of money. and
No, I
I
can I can dig it.
yeah, so I remember working at the bank and all of that stuff, and then like just at some point I was like, all right, I got to get into tech cuz that's where the money's at. And then,
Hmm.
it's kind of all she wrote from there, but that's when I stopped going out.
Yes. It's so funny. I always have this debate with my best friends, right? Because they always like, you know, um, I always say I want a man that's in my ballpark figure, right? And they think it's just because I'm saying, oh, I want him to make a certain type. And it's like, no, but it's bigger than that because I understand how some egos are a little fragile, like how some men may not be able to withstand the fact that I make more like than him because if you know me, if I go in the store and I want it, I'm gonna
Exactly.
get it.
Yeah.
like,
And but
but
also
it's
imagine as a man you're responsible though. Like
mm,
I don't feel like we talk about that enough. Is that the man is responsible for in my mind, right? Most men are responsible for everything. So even if you don't make all the money, if the lights go out and she make more than you still got to figure out how to get them lights on. If she make more than you and she blowing her money, because like that wasn't the problem for me. It wasn't the fact that she was not only making more money, but it was like I need to be able to supply all of our necessities and her wants and needs. You know what I
right.
mean? So, because most of the time when dudes make more money than they women, they now you just not care. She still make more money than you because you don't care about her money. But
Right.
she doing whatever the hell she want with her money, and she doing whatever the hell she want with your money. Like, so it
Yeah.
wasn't really that. It was just like, yo, if I don't get this bag, she bad with her money. I hate to say, like, I'm not, but we were young, you know what I'm saying? And like you said, like if you want something, so to her it was like, well, I could just work more and get more. And
Mm-hmm.
I was more of a like, that's not always how life works, you know? Like
Right.
you need to
Right?
have something in the tuck so that in case something happen or you run into a wall or something happens. So yeah, man, like
No.
real men are responsible for the good and the bad. And yes, that's a heavy load, and you probably shouldn't feel that way. And maybe that is ego, but if you taking care of the house, you taking care of your woman, you taking care of your family, you should be making money. I don't know. I
Right.
don't know how dudes don't want to do that. Like that's ridiculous to
Yeah.
me.
And although I say ego, I also feel like it's innate as well. Like it's natural, I believe, like for a man, like what you're saying, to want to do those things or like feel the need to do those things. So it's just like, I always say like, granted some men are different depending on like the relationship and the circumstances. Like I do believe, and this is based off my experience with my dad, grandfather, like friends like you, my
Yeah.
brother, like, what I'm saying? Like for the most part, it's going to be okay. And then it's just going to be, and if that woman is not mindful of it, like she can damage their relationship by saying certain things, not even realizing, like, what I'm saying, like that she's doing it or whatever the case may be. Subconsciously, you might be like, he would be like, oh, well, wait till I get paid again. You're like, no, I want it now.
Nah, I
Like,
ain't waiting till you get. Why I gotta wait
you
till?
get paid. Wait till you get
Yeah,
paid,
she
right?
just
Like,
you just punched me in my
like,
stomach. You just punched me in my stomach,
right.
telling me wait till I get paid.
I get paid. Like, what you mean? Like, so, and it don't even have to be, or it could just be the simple. Just like I guess because it's so crazy too. I feel like I have a lot of guy friends, and because I have a lot of guy friends, I talk to them, right? Not talk to them just to like converse, but I'm curious. Like, fill my cup up. Let me understand and make me better. So when my husband come along, it's like I understand. Like, okay. Like, and it's no, as much as I know I want it and I can get it, if he's telling me to wait, I'm going to wait.
Right, right.
Like, because I understand how important that is for him to lead, because he also may be doing it out of certain decisions he's making. It's like, okay, cool, babe. Like, all right, we'll wait.
Right, right.
So
Y- Yeah, we getting away from the
yeah.
from the podcast. Let's get into this. Welcome to the Keep It Uplifting podcast, where we discuss lifestyle, fitness, and motivation. I'm your host, Uplifting, and I have with me today the great, the one, and the only Rich Auntie. Say hello.
Hey guys.
So it's good to have you back. It's been about a year, and
Mm-hmm.
speaking of money, how's business? How's business?
Business is good. There are weeks where there are no sales, and there are weeks where it's like, ooh, in a week or 2, 3 days, it's like, ooh, 5 orders, cool. Like I like this. Like, the only consistent thing in sales is there's no consistency,
Wow.
right? Like it's very much there's no consistency. Again, the 28th is our birthday. So
Okay.
we have our 1 year
Congratulations.
birthday. Thank you. So within this year, it's been very much up and down, learning how to do this, learning what to do, what sales to push, when to sell, when to push new merchandise. Like all of this is a lesson, right? And because of that, um, and just also realizing, the competition, like also growing the brand awareness, um, like really putting that out there and building that trust with the customers and the consumers. um that's the biggest thing, because that's what's going to keep the constant sales coming in. So right now, like I honestly don't think about sales, like
Mm-hmm.
that's because that's not my goal. My goal is brand awareness and relationship building, building that rapport, because as much as we have social media,
Right.
to help market, like a lot of times, especially, being a women's boutique, a lot of times it's going to be, oh, I like your outfit, where you get it from,
Right.
right? Like type thing. So having those referrals, basically kind of like unsolicited referrals, is the best thing to do, because if you're a customer and you like the experience you had with me, like it could be something as simple as, I really think I like this, but I'm not sure if the shoes match or whatever. Sometimes if time permits, it's like, send me the picture, right? Like, let me see and I can tell you whatever. Like, those are things people are going to remember, and they're going to relay that message. Like, she was really cool. They was really cool. They answered my questions. Like whatever the situation may come about, they're going to be willing to share that. And you hear that, you like, what? I like that. Like, I'm gonna try them out. I'm gonna look at them, see what they got, and I'm gonna see if I can get that same experience, because that's what it basically
Right.
is making sure that the experience is like one of a kind.
And is there a big misconception in sales where people think that you sold 10,000 this week and that's how much profit you have? Is that a real thing? Because I don't really
I
understand.
do.
I don't understand the sales side. Is it like if you sell 10,000, is that 10,000 earned dollars?
No. So depending on how much you pay for the merchandise, what do you call your price margins as far as to how much you want to be able to make off your pieces, depending on how many pieces you have to calculate it in your shipping, the pieces that you have to package in. Like, there are so many factors that are tied into it, that how you actually have to find your end number and your margins in order for you to see profit. But being as though that this is just the first year of launching for the website,
Mm-hmm.
I got 4 more years before I can really like tell you about like the sales and what it looks like. Right now, sales is, again, I don't look for the sales. Like, sales are just like little like indicators that we're like kind of breathing, right?
Right, right, right.
In a sense, sales are just an indication of breathing. But ultimately, building all those other things, the money comes in. So the goal eventually, of course, is always to make money, but the goal is to bring brand awareness and make sure those rapports are like like are unbreakable. And
Okay.
again, those unsolicited referrals.
Yeah, I hear you talking a lot about referrals. Maybe is it because that you're focusing more on, let's say, branding than um making money at this point? Not necessarily like you say you don't want to make any money, but it's really hard to start a fashion line, right?
It
So
is.
is the focus at this point throughout this year branding, and when did you figure that out, or was that from the beginning?
No, it was as I grew.
Okay.
Because initially it was like, I gotta get the money. Like, I put the money out, I gotta
Right.
get the money back, right? Like, that was the initial standpoint on it. But as I started reading more, started researching, like, I realized, like, okay, I'm going about this the wrong way.
Hmm.
Um, Again, the branding and everything is basically kind of like the top of the pyramid, or
Mm-hmm.
and then everything kind of falls down, and at the bottom of the pyramid is the money. So it's big, because I realize, again, those people that are going to, those unsolicited referrals are going to be the people that bring me more people, and then those people are going to bring me people. So it's literally a ripple effect. So you want to continuously build that and make sure that you have that. Like, think about it. A lot of times when you think about Chick-fil-A, like, you think of, anytime you go there, the people are so nice,
Right.
and then it's a bonus that the food is good. Like,
Right. Right. Right.
like,
Right.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, or when you go in, like, I like Trader Joe's, right? Like, you going into Trader Joe's, they're always nice. I love when they ring the little bell. Like, there's it's things about them that makes that experience good, to where you want to come back to spend your money with them. Like, even like, as a woman in the beauty industry, hair, right? You can have someone that does amazing hair, but if the experience is horrible, you're not going back and giving them your money.
Yeah.
Like, like, I'm not about to spend my money with you, and you was acting all snotty. Like, and it's a fun thing that we say as women, you go get your hair and stuff done, like your your beautician, like they low key be your therapist. Like,
Right, right.
you talk to them, you go for an experience, like, and it's so funny because a lot of people that I grew relationships with that were my hairstylists became my friends because
Hmm.
you talk to them, you get your hair done. Like my braider, me and her talk on FaceTime.
Yeah.
Like she became a friend, and it was because of the experience with her. Like she was flexible, she had really good prices. Like I loved her work, right? Like it was there, but it was all a package deal. It wasn't just because she had good work. Like who wants to sit in 4 hours getting her hair braided and the person is an asshole basically? Like,
Right,
nah, you don't want to do that.
right. So is that why you created the ambassador program for yourself?
Yes, I'm so excited. We launched it this month. Yes, I kind of did it selfishly. I did it for that reason, and I also did it a little selfishly on my part, but it was also strategic, right?
Hmm.
Because as you are branding yourself and you're putting content out there, sometimes you can kind of get a little burnout
Right.
from trying to push out so much content or being able to create content and also just realizing that everyone doesn't look like me, right? So because everyone doesn't look like me, my goal was to make sure that I had different um body types and complexions, all of that, so where when you go to the site you can see you in the merchandise. Like that was like something I was really really big on, especially because I go from a small to a 3X. Like I'm not a small, nor am I a 3X,
Right.
right? So I know I'm in the middle, but it's kind of hard for, and I'm short. I always say if somebody tall beside me, we look like the number 10 because I'm short and round. Like so because of that, I know everyone doesn't look like me, and they'll see me and they'll think like, "Oh, she's shorter than I am. How would those pants fit me? Like I'm
Yeah.
taller than her." Like because this is how we shop and it's online, I don't have brick and mortar. I want to be able to make sure that's depicted, like so people can really be able to see themselves. So, having that brand ambassador allowed that, and then it also allows for other women to have a seat at the table. Like I really, really feel like, you know, businesses don't always offer that, like
Hmm.
the opportunity for people to make money as well. Like my brand ambassadors, they get to make commission, and a select few actually get free merchandise. Like you already going out. Like so when you go out, take a picture of this outfit when you go, create content, and you got a free outfit. And now that's content that I can reuse, repurpose, and I don't have to have the pressure on myself to actually do it.
Yeah, that's actually a really great idea. The ambassador program. I thought that would definitely take things to the next level for you, just because there was a business that it's a popular beer. I can't think of who it is, but the way that the CEOs were able to really grow the brand and raise money is by allowing people a percentage of the business at certain
Mm.
times who purchase, they they have creative input on the beer as well, like certain lines or certain beer tastings and things of that nature as well, and it's allowed them to grow exponentially.
Yep.
But growing fast or trying to grow fast, um, you spoke about burnout. And what I was wondering is, how do you manage your expectations so that you don't feel burnout? I mean, you're in year one, and I'm sure you wanted to do a lot of things that maybe you didn't check the box for this year. I mean, you could tell me otherwise, but
No. So burnout is very real. Um, and it's not only just because of my business, it's very much just life, right? Like life was lifing, like for me this year. Like it was like, woo! Like my birthday in January, and my birthday wish was for me to thrive and no longer survive. And God was like, okay, well, baby, we're gonna get you there. You gotta kind of go through these things first, to
yeah,
get you there. And because of all those different things, my mom getting in a car accident, my uncle passed on Christmas, which we had the funeral in December. With all of those different things, like work being very draining, being having a business, and then not always recognizing how certain relationships were like draining, like personal, business, work, like all of those different things. Like I'm on a do not disturb cleanse right now.
Yeah.
I have my phone on do not disturb. It's probably been about almost a month now. Uh, I got friends that are texting me, like call me, and I'm just like, I will eventually. Like I have no pressure to. I don't feel any pressure or angst to call. And that's because I realized I was burnt out.
Hmm.
And because I realized I was experiencing burnout, I had to kind of like take a step back, right? And how I showed up in my business was I showed up in whatever capacity I could show up in.
Right.
So it was like, okay, if I don't feel like creating new content, I can use my ambassadors, I can repurpose mine, I can post it, and then I'm good, right? Like I can make sure I spend an hour today doing all of my marketing emails. I'm good. Like whatever I had to give, I showed up in that. And I didn't put those expectations on myself because I feel like for me personally, I know I pay attention to how I feel, right?
Right.
Like I'm very in tune with that. It's just like, okay, not saying that I don't push myself. Like I have this saying, like I push myself, but not over the edge.
Right.
And because of that, it's like, all right, well, what can I do today? Right. To where I can feel some type of accomplishment. I can continue to reach my goal as a growing business to where I can be like, okay, I did something, right? But what is that? Like, what do I have the capacity to do? Even if it's just posting a story,
Yeah.
right? Like, like I did something, right? Like, what is that going to get me? I don't know, but I know I did something for my business today. Did I do something for myself today? Like understanding, like being very, very intentional with time management, and again being very in tune with like how I feel. So it's just like, no, I'm not going to put those expectations on myself because I feel like for me personally, when I put those like expectations, I had burnout because it was like, oh, I can do this, I can do this, but not realizing that I'm on a different journey, and this journey requires a different part of me that can't do that.
Right. I like how you said you show up in whatever capacity that you can when it comes to burnout. I believe that
Mm-hmm.
the misconception with burnout is you just let go, you just stop working, and that may be
Mm-hmm.
the way that works for other people.
Some
But I
people,
really feel like a part of work ethic is that especially when you're doing something that you love to do. They say you never work a day in your life, right? So
right?
you're doing something that you love to do, and like you said, I'll show up and I'll do what I can. You got it. You even took the time to go on your do not disturb cleanse, which I like that as well, where you figured out that I need time to focus, right? And this is
Mm-hmm.
how I can best facilitate that for myself. And in that time, you got creative and said, let me allow the community to come in, brand ambassadors, and they can also be my uh, billboards for the brand, my marketing pieces for the brand. And
Right.
I think that's exceptional, just because, like I said, you didn't stop. You ran into the proverbial wall that we all run into when we're working hard and we're trying to make things happen too fast. And you found a way to not necessarily knock it down, but maybe get around it. Is
Yeah.
perseverance of is you persevering through your business helping you in your life at all?
Yes. Well, I would say this. I feel like it's so funny because I feel like I be having a lot of sayings, like because I definitely know I've been here before. I was a queen. I was rich.
Mm,
Like I was definitely some type of royalty. Like, and I was very wise. Okay, like
okay.
very wise. Um, because I realized that everything I need, I already have it in me. The situation just hasn't happened for it to show up, right? So, in the midst of me realizing that, like, I had to take a step back in the sense of like I was saying, like my do not disturb cleanse, and that was more for me, right? Like I feel like everything I do is for me, and how it helps me impacts everything else that I do or everything that's around me. So,
Okay.
yes, there are things I've learned about myself because of my business, but I always put myself first. The
Mm.
cleanse was, of course, for for me, and in the sense of me, like there was days where like I wasn't like I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna work for a couple of days, like, and I literally would binge watch a TV show, right?
Right.
Like I didn't do nothing. Like I said, the most I might do sometimes is repost, and then I put my phone down, right?
Right.
Like, and I would just watch TV and I would do things. And because I'm such a visual person, right? Like, I think I was telling you one day, like, I love the Blacklist. Like,
Yeah.
that's my show. Like, the I watched the Blacklist, yes, for entertainment, but also for um to feed my creativity, right? Because again, I'm such a visual person. I love the fact that when you watch certain shows, like those writers have such a way of being able to tell a story without they give you everything, but not a like they give you enough, but not everything. Like they give you enough to keep you coming, but they keep you there, like just like hanging on the cliff because you're just like, I want more. Like tell me more. Like what is going on?
Right.
And the way they tell the story and the way they give you what you need, like being able to sit in a room and be like, okay, I need to give them this so they could come back for that, and then if I give them that, they're gonna want this. Like being able to know your customer, right? Like, and to be able to tell a story, it is the best thing ever. Like that's why sometimes people believe their own lies because the way they tell it, like like
Yeah.
liars are the best storytellers, right? Like if you find a way to be able to tell a story so creatively and so strategically, people are gonna always want to come back, right? Like so learning those little things like that and finding ways how I can apply that, like because although I look at what other people in my business are doing, I
Yeah.
look at what other companies are doing. What's the medical field doing? Like, what are they
Right.
doing to be able to get consumers? What is the food industry doing? Like, because I know when I be on Instagram, I stay like in these food pictures. Like,
Right.
like what are other people doing to be able to tell a story to make me want to now go look at your picture because I looked at this or look at your page because I looked at this one reel, right?
Right.
Like, how do you do that? How do I capture this one scene to make you come want to go now watch the series, like type thing. So it's like that's how my mind thinks. And when you're pouring into everybody's cup, like I said, I'm on my do not disturb. Like I think it's like 6 people that's on my list that can kind of get through. Like
Uh huh.
it's because those people pour into my cup when my cup is empty, right? Like everyone pours into your cup in certain ways, but because I know where I'm at, I know the things that I need, right? Like I tell you, bro, you made it through. You want to do that, you can get through, right? Because I know if you call me with an issue, I can talk, I can listen. I have the capacity to listen and give
Yeah.
you what you need because after you're done, I could be like, all right, my turn.
Right.
And it's not in a sense where, okay, well, I'm gonna call you back, or I just wanted to vent, or it's like, no, I dumped on you per se. Now, hey, you can go ahead and pour what you need to pour out. Like let's feed each other in whatever space. So that was part of that, and then just in the turn of that do not disturb, I was able to just kind of like reset, refocus, and just realign basically.
Yeah. I like how you said the lies that people tell themselves. What is the biggest truth pill that you had to swallow this year about your business as far as a challenge that you had to overcome?
Mm, the biggest truth was the sales. That was it, right? Like that was the biggest truth because it does sometimes there is a misconception like you think, oh, the money is just going to flow because everybody always shopping, but it's like no, it's much bigger than that. And I had to be okay with like going a week, sometimes 2 weeks maybe without getting sales,
Mm-hmm.
but still have that like ooh, let me see what else I can get, or how can I repurpose this outfit, or how, like, to still be able to do that, right?
Right.
And not lose the passion behind it because just because money isn't coming in.
Hmm. Is there anything that you would tell someone who just recently started their business? They're in year one of their business, or maybe they're in year three of their business,
Mm.
and they're thinking about closing up shop.
I would say retrospect, right? Like, literally, take a like pause, press pause, and retrospect. Like, the biggest thing in your retrospect, remove your ego.
Mm,
Like, remove your ego and your pride, and have a conversation with yourself. Like, where did you, and it's not even about like talking down to yourself, or no, where did you mess up at, right? Like, find your, because there are going to be things you mess up on, and that's fine. Like, my thing, there are no losses, just lessons. So it's like, really sit down and have that, put that accountability mirror in front of you and have that conversation. It's almost kind of like when you retrospect, you put your phone up like the mirror, you could see it, and you
right.
look behind it, but you still could see yourself in it, type
Right.
thing. Like, you got to have that moment where you're doing it, because you need to look behind you and see, like, okay, all right, when it came to marketing, like, how did I do? Like, where were some areas I can, improve? Find people that you can connect with. Like, one of my goals this year was to find more women entrepreneurs, right? And
Right.
learn off of them. That, like, feed into each other and see how my ideas can help them, or their ideas can help me, just to have a different perspective. Like, don't stop asking your friends and your family for their feedback, because they're going to be looking at it with a bias, right? Like, be very mindful of that. So you need third parties. It's kind of like your business need a therapist too.
right.
Like,
Right. Right.
you
Right.
need like, to be able to tell the problems, for them to be able to kind of give you a different perspective on things. Like, retrospect, find someone that can be able to, you can bounce ideas off of, that's not your friend or your family. Like, they could, a mentor of some sort. And really be okay with it not going the way you thought it was going to go. Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, as soon as you think it's going to go one way, it go complete opposite, and that can be very discouraging. But it's like, it's literally your business is leading you, so you got to follow it. Like, like, okay.
Yeah, I asked definitely the 3 year question just because in the beginning you spoke about essentially you're in year one of year five as far as your
Hmm.
plan. So if things don't go well, if things don't go well in your business, uh, by year four, year five, as far as what you expect to happen during that time, um, what do you think you'll do?
um I'll take out what I know I'm good at,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll get help on the things that I'm not. Like, I already do that now. Like, I
Okay.
definitely don't have a problem with delegating. But again, it would be literally like, taking my business, and, like, I would not necessarily give it to someone else, but it would be like, look at this, right?
Right.
Tell me what I'm not seeing, right? Because I'm clearly doing this for a purpose. Like, like, I know that I started this because God planted a seed in me. I sat still, he talked to me, and then it was like, you need to move on this. And that's what I did. And I don't believe I'm doing all of this to quit. Like, I truly don't
Mm.
believe it. So it's like, if this particular thing don't work, there's something that's going to come out of it for me to do, that's
Right.
going to continuously allow me to grow, and that's going to make me be an entrepreneur that don't have to work a 9 to 5 to supply my business. So when that time comes, I guess, because I know this is what I'm going to be doing, I can't say that I would stop. I would take that hard pause. Like, I would revamp. I would relaunch. I would like rebrand. Like it's so many things that you can do because it's like, okay, if I know that I've been good in this space, like how can I relaunch and have this more of a soul focus? Or how can I do this? Like if I can see that this is solely my strength and this is where I really grew, then that's probably where I need to be focusing on and actually, hone in there. But I don't think no one should quit when you've gotten that far because you've learned so much. It may even be to the point where like you learn so much that you realize that operating the business is not your forte. It's helping other people operate theirs.
Right. Right.
Like so it you have to really, really again, that's that, retrospect, like look in that accountability mirror, look back and look at yourself. What have I been learning? What have I learned? Like as much as I've had so many like moments in life where it's like that turbulence and it's like, okay, I don't like this. Oh, I don't like this. What am I supposed to be learning? Right? Like assess and learn, like remove that ego, remove that pride and just really learn like
Yeah.
what am I supposed to be gaining right now? Because I'm not losing anything. I'm gaining something, but what is it?
Well, I definitely feel that reflection is a big thing, right? Like I believe I
Mhm.
talked about it on one episode where I said reflect and take massive action. So
Mm.
reflecting on the 1 year of your Rich Auntie brand, what is the story of your brand so far?
The story is um one really uh, kind of like learning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm the first entrepreneur in my family to have this type of platform.
Right.
So learning, definitely is perspective, right? Perspective, growth, um, a new sense of confidence,
Mm.
um, a new sense of creativity, a a real rich auntie. Like and it's funny because I say that and this is something that I'm definitely going to do in reference to because when I put out my brand, I never actually said what a rich auntie is, right? I did a pop-up shop a couple of weeks ago. Well, it's actually been a couple months now. And I remember like walking up to one of the ladies and I was like, "You look like a rich auntie." She was like, "No, I'm not. I'm broke." And I was like, "No, you're not." Like, no, you're not. But beyond just that, like, but why would you even say that about yourself, right? Like,
Right.
and I
Right.
had a whole conversation with her, and I'm like, you do realize that you are what you say you are, right? Like, and if you just said you broke, sis, you ain't got nothing. And
Right.
and being rich doesn't always mean monetary, like, because if you're
Mm.
rich in wisdom, you're rich.
Right.
Because the fact that you have that, you have the knowledge, or you're rich in skills or whatever, those things can make you rich monetarily. Just because you have money don't make you rich. Because
Exactly.
you could have a whole lot of money and be broke as hell, broken. So, um, really embodying like the story of Rich Auntie is truly embodying that persona,
Okay.
right? Like that's something that I've known I was, but I've never fully embraced it and embodied it. Like it's a whole new level of confidence and a whole new level of yes, I am her.
Yeah.
Like I am that persona. Like, and again, it's a persona. Like, just because it says rich auntie doesn't mean you have to be auntie. You could be a mom, you could be a grandmother, like whatever. Like, but you embody the persona of the rich auntie, which basically is someone that's rich internally, like
Hmm.
and exudes externally through them in their fashion.
Okay. 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 Exudes rich in their fashion. And my last
Yes.
question that I always have for guests when they come on, as I'm perfecting this, everyone, I believe that everyone is a gift to the world, right?
Mm.
And what would you like for your lasting impression on the world to be?
That's a good one. What would I like my last impression to be? Um, mm, I would say, erase what you think confidence is, um, and define who you are by who you are and not what other people think or see you as, right? Like, as people, we all have insecurities and flaws, right? But I feel like comedians always say it back. I feel like comedians taught me how to be confident, right?
Right.
Really, because they always say if you use your flaws and insecure, like if you speak of your insecurities and your flaws, nobody can use that against you. So if you own truly who you are, who can ever say anything about you? And if they do, forget them. Like, they're not your maker. They can't judge you, because if y'all both went up to them heavenly gates, y'all both got things to answer to. So be who you are unapologetically, like, and even when you may not like certain things about yourself, that's okay. Like nobody's gonna be perfect. Like, there are gonna be things that you don't like about yourself. Be okay with that. Like, embrace that and recognize that's what makes you human. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's what makes you human. Like, there ain't one person on this earth that's gonna tell you they like everything about themselves. And if they do, they lying, because we always have something we want to work on, that we want to change, that we're trying to evolve into. Like, we always are a work in progress. So because we're always a work in progress, like, get out of your mind what you think, confidence is, because I feel like, to me, my confidence is my grounding. Like, the more I'm grounded, the more confident I am. Right? Like, so when people like, are you confident? No, I'm grounded,
Mm.
because I'm rooted in who I am, right? Like, and because as long as I'm rooted in who I am, my confidence doesn't matter, because I know who I am and I know what I give and what I offer. So yeah, I am who I am. Yeah, I am. I've been working mornings damn near my whole life. I'm not a morning person. Uh, I spend all my money in the summertime on crabs. Like, I spend $8 at Starbucks. Right, like, I hate get washing my car.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I might go 2 days without making up my bed.
Right, right, right,
Like,
right, right.
it's so many things. Like, some people would be like, "Oh my god, I just can't do that." Like, I will call a maid service if I don't want to clean up today.
Mm.
Like, I will sit in the bed all day, binge. I know who I am. I know that I could tell you probably how to run your whole business, but I'm not gonna do it. Like, I know who I am. I know the traumas, I know the healing. I know who I am, and can nobody use that against me, because I own it.
Mm. Okay, okay. Well, Rich Auntie, thank you for joining us on the Keep It Uplifting
Yay!
podcast. And as always, keep it uplifting.
Make sure to like, comment, share, and most importantly, keep it uplifting.
Take it up, listen.